There you go. So I'll keep that one there just in case I run out of battery. Okay. Right, how are you?
Oh, good. I, it was a nice spontaneous catch up that
Hmm.
you suggested. So, yeah, I'm up for it.
Yes, I thought, why
Yeah,
not? Why not?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
been such a long week and a lot has been going on, and we haven't had chance to catch up because, as you know, in the week everybody's running around.
Yeah.
And but I've been following up on your posts. You're doing a great job with ramping up the King's upcoming visit to Australia.
I'll post them
So,
every day now until it's all over and finished. I've got one
mm,
scheduled to post after we're finished. So, yeah, it's interesting and it's got it's they're riling up the Republican movement here in Australia, but there's no appetite for it. There really isn't
mm,
because
mm,
we're just the same as a lot of other countries. People's minds are on their household budgets.
mm, mm,
So yeah, it's exciting. I'm going into the botanical gardens, and um, if it's possible, I want to go also to his inspection of the naval fleet. That's
mm.
in that vicinity, so I am pretty excited about it.
Yeah,
I hope,
yeah.
I really hope that he does well. People are a bit nervous because of the 11-day pause with his treatment. But I
Mm,
really wish him well. I really hope that he'll go home tired because it is a
mm,
grueling trip. It's a
mm.
30,000 mile round trip. But I actually hope he does well. I do. I think it'll not only be good for the monarchy in Australia, but for him.
Yeah, he will do good. He will do. Don't forget that the king and queen, okay, they've had a lot of experience with traveling, and he's prepared for this. He has, and he's been apparently they've put him on a very strict diet now. He has to have lunch every day because he wasn't having that. He usually saw it as a luxury before, but now they said you need to have lunch as a must because the body needs enough fuel, and it is going to be a very busy and packed schedule of 10 engagements a day while in Australia. So, but they have prepared him, and he's of course going to travel with the doctors. They are going to have the medical team full on board. So I'm not even worried because
No, no. If he
if
has a
they had
medical incident, they're on
mm,
hand.
they're on hand, but he's so determined to come on board to Australia because
Mm,
this is something that he was looking forward to when
mm,
he becomes the monarch. And you
mm,
know that these travels to Australia for kings and queens are always historical. It will go down in the books as, the king traveled to Australia at such and such a date. Just like you show us those memories of Queen Elizabeth in Australia and the waving of flags and all of that sort of thing. So he really wants it as well, which I think is the most important thing.
I agree. Because he's
Mm,
such a workaholic,
mm,
it's to be expected. But I just, I don't know. I mean, I've always been aware of the royal visits. I've never really gone out for one, and I'm a convert with um, King Charles.
mm,
But it's really fun watching all of the old memories of him when he was um, in the outback here when he was young. He was here for 6 months. And when he was on the beach and a model, it was all set up apparently. A model came and kissed him as he's coming out of the water. They're actually fun memories. I remember at the time thinking, who is this goofy prince? Where's the queen?
yeah.
I've always just been a big Queen
Yes.
fangirl, you know, I always have. So, and I really admire strong female leaders. And I don't mean strong female leaders who are, you know, big boss, got their big boss pants on and they imitate the worst traits of men. I mean really good, strong female leaders because it takes a lot for that. But I
Mm.
loved the Queen. But I used to think, who's this goofy prince? But now,
Now
geez,
he's the
I'm
king.
here. I am cheering him on. You know.
I know. Promoting his upcoming tour. Now, the reason is
Oh,
very. Have you seen this from Lisa H? Hi, everybody. SP, Stedman, Fab. Thank you so much. Chantel, Martin,
yeah,
Nina,
yeah.
Lisa. The A team is already here. That
Oh, the
means a lot
18.
to us. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.
Oh.
And Lisa makes a very important point there. Now, she says that stopping chemo for the king means that it is a very important trip for him. King Charles is quite a very strict man. I know him. I worked for him, as a royal uh, guard, in the household. When he's determined to do something, he does it. He sticks by it. And if things don't go as he wanted, you will see his frustration. And I think we always see that when he's walking about, or
Yes, yes.
when he's signing on a piece of paper and the pen decides to run berserk. You see how he puts on that sort of frustration because he's a man who wants everything to the T. Okay. So for this chemotherapy to be paused in the middle of all of this and King Charles rolls on with it is an indication that he is surely very invested in this
Yes.
trip. So
Yes,
that is
Lisa's
a
quite
very
right.
good,
Yeah.
very right, yes.
Yeah.
And outside of that, I also think that because this medication, daily medication, weekly medication, as it has been for him, somebody needs to take a break to
Mm,
allow it
mm,
allow
mm.
it to work. The body,
Yes.
it is not a machine that you push all the time with this medication.
Mm,
So I think
mm.
they looked at it and said they can use these moments of pauses within his medication while he's out there in Australia. So they are very careful to have selected this moment of pause and wanted him to go and have this trip while this pause is on. And when he gets back, they will continue with his treatment.
Yes, you're
So,
right about that because it's wearing cancer treatment. It's grueling. It is grueling. And more often than people like to acknowledge, more often people die from the treatment more, you know,
hmm,
quicker than they do the disease. So
hmm.
you've hit the nail on the head there. I thought that myself when I read that he paused it. I thought the body needs a break. It's,
It
you know,
needs
apart from his schedule, but it needs a break. It needs to
it
breathe.
needs and especially for a 74, 75, he really needs that, break to allow the body to recoup. And so
Yes.
they're going to give him the best dishes out there. He's been on a very healthy diet anyway, so I'm not even worried about that. And he's got Camilla. Camilla is also very caring. She likes to make sure her husband is on the tee with, whether it's medication or, relaxation and all of that sort of thing. But this trip is going to be as planned. We are very excited. I have been reading an article somewhere, and I think this article I think it's from Australia, and they said that this team is starting to pick up.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So
I
that's
was
great.
worried because
Mm,
no one was talking about it at all. The
mm,
only reports you would find were when it was initially announced a few months back. But I think
mm,
it's now a scramble because
mm,
everything the royal family does is like a well-oiled machine. But because of his illness, and
mm,
you know he does need to pace himself, now I feel like everyone's scrambling over here. And I'll tell you where it shows up the most with the
Hmm.
Republicans. They're scrambling now because they didn't think, they thought, oh, he's going to fall off his perch before he gets here. I
Hmm.
didn't think that would happen, but I did think he could be compromised, and
Hmm.
unable to make it. But they're all scrambling. And the media now, they've obviously had stuff in the can. Now they're bringing out mini documentaries and they're revisiting old material. It's really nice. But I was worried because I thought, where the heck is the news? No one is talking. I
Hmm.
thought to myself, am I the only monarchist in this country? What's going on? I'm
Yeah.
obviously not, but I was lonely in my little corner.
Yeah.
It's actually quite exciting. I'm looking forward to going into Sydney Harbour. I just get the ferry across from Manly. I'm there in 20 minutes, so it's an easy ride for me.
Well, you have to go because our expectations of you getting some of those photographs and
Oh
videos are
no,
high. As
no,
you can
no.
see, I think was it Aspi or who says or that Chantel Martin says that I can't wait for Catherine to capture a video of King Charles's visit.
Oh,
Now she
Frankie,
said it
Frankie,
right from everybody.
I gotta bring my security blanket with me now. Oh, the performance anxiety is real. If Frankie's coming with me.
Okay, so you have to elbow around, you to try and get
I will. I
to
will.
the
I'm pushing,
closest you
pushing.
can because
Yeah.
yeah,
I
and
got my little flags.
I think it would be wise to go the night before or the day before, so you can sort of get yourself into great positions. Or because what happens here in the UK, if there is a function like that, and we have these hot spots where they are going to be coming. So you see Buckingham Palace balcony appearances. So the mall, this is that long stretch right outside Buckingham Palace would be locked down a few hours to the event. So people go and stay, set up their little tents and sit around there so that they get themselves as close as possible. And when they close down the entrances to the mall, it means you can't get closer. So all of the royalists and the reporters and all of us with channels that are updating people out there about this royal news would go and sleep there the night before. Now I'm very lucky
Chantel.
because yeah, Chantel says
Oh,
yeah. So I'm very lucky that there is Wellington Barracks, which is a barracks for the soldiers very close to Buckingham Palace. And this is where we used to form up to then march to the Horse Guards Parade or to go and mount our guards at Buckingham Palace forecourt or to go on sentry. So it's very close to Buckingham Palace. And I still have my friends who are working who are still in the army as guards. So what I do is I live here the night before and go and spend the night in the barracks at Wellington
that's
Barracks.
good. That's good you
Yeah.
have that.
Yeah, so there are bunk beds in there, and they say, "Oh, this is ex-serviceman, oh, guardsman, come in." So they give me a bed space, and I put my camera there and my little suitcase, and very early in the morning at 5:30. That's how Buckingham Palace and all of those hotspots start getting filled up very early. So about 5:30, I get myself ready and just walk down to Buckingham Palace. That's how I've always managed to secure very close spaces to the royals, and I think you can see it's a Catherine, yay, and
I
that sort of
know.
thing.
You're so
Yeah, yeah,
cute.
yeah.
Very cute.
So you might have to go down a night before. I don't
I
know how
will.
it
I
is, but
hadn't thought about it. I hadn't thought that far ahead. Um, but I will. I'll have everything ready, and I'm going to make some inquiries around the area. I'm going to go because it's just, it's not far from
Yeah.
me at all, So I've made some inquiries about the roads and the security and all the rest of it, and I'll make sure no one's kicking me out of my spot. No one.
Yeah. And Australia
I'll
is
tell
brilliant weather-wise, so you don't have to
oh,
worry about carrying an umbrella. Huh?
I'll tell you something. I thought about
Mm.
this yesterday because I'm getting nervous. I'm thinking, oh, oh, all of Francis's team, they all want photos. What am I going to do? And I don't want to disappoint. And I was reminded, and it was my intuition reminding
Mm.
me a few months back, one of my favorite preachers he's from Scotland and he travels the
Mm.
world, and he's a really unusual character, but I really like him because he's quite fiery. Anyway,
Mm.
he's an acquired taste, I'll put it that way. So I heard he was in Australia and I thought, oh, I'll wander down, if I get a chance to meet him. And, it was just an ordinary crowd. Anyway, and he's not a wild man. He gets around with a walking cane. So I
Mm.
get up, and I did get some photos because I sat in the second front row, and I was
Mm-hmm.
very impressed with him, and so when I'm leaving, he's coming towards me outside and
Okay.
stopped me and said hello, and I thought, this is what's going to happen with the king. He's going to see that I'm British because I'm going to have
Yeah.
Frankie with me and my British flag,
Have
as
Frankie
well
with
as my
you,
Australian flag. The king will see me, I know. I'll make
and he
sure.
will come to
I'll
you.
even have a little umbrella.
Exactly. And you know what? Usually, that's the trick. Make sure you carry something distinctive. That because when they are walking about in the crowds, they sort of tend to go to whether there's a little one carrying a flower or something written on about the king, or you're welcome, or you're wearing this bright outfit because we are naturally drawn to
Yes,
things that attract us. Or because
yes,
don't forget, you're gonna have big crowds lining up.
yes,
So for him
yes.
to come that side, make sure you have some bit of distinctiveness, or whether you're gonna be wearing the massive T-shirt with King Charles and Camilla at the front. I'm sure all of those things are going round right now.
No, look, I,
Uh,
I, I know it's going to be good. I just know because I was,
yes,
yesterday I was biting my nails over this, and I thought all of a sudden I'd forgotten about how I ran into Jacob, and I
yeah.
thought, oh, you had that extraordinary incident with you, and he shook your hand. He was thrilled to meet you. He recognized you were British. He heard it in your accent that you're still British, and we spoke for about 10 minutes. Oh,
Hmm.
if I get 1 minute of the king, I'll be happy.
Oh, that's gonna go down in your books as memories. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
Lisa there says wear a big red heart, with a bad on, and that will get his
I am wearing
attention.
a red jacket. It's
Yeah,
actually it's actually one of those because some of my clothes are at what they call advanced style. And I've got this, I'm wearing it later to dinner with my kids. And
yeah.
it's quite shiny and it's bright fire engine red. And
Oh
I'm going to wear that.
yes,
And I've
wear
got
that.
a white like a Meghan Markle hat. I got one of those, and I have my boots.
I've got some pom poms. So I bought
Oh
this. I
no.
bought this for the was that King's birthday parade. So I bought some
Oh,
of these, and so I wore them round my shoulder, round my neck. So it's like a pom pom with all the Union Jack colors, white, blue, and red. And guess what? I stationed myself right outside St. James Palace. So when the king is coming out of St. James, he would wheel on his right hand and get onto the
oh,
mall. That is
yeah.
when he's heading up to Buckingham Palace. So I put that pom pom on, and you know what? So I stood there as they were driving him past. I said, King Charles! And then he waved. He actually waved to me. I've got
Oh,
that video. Got that video.
oh,
In
Oh,
fact, I shared that video in a short on the day of the coronation. And I said, King Charles, and he gave me a wave. So, but
I'm
he
going to
must
do
have
that
seen
too.
this.
I'm going
Yeah,
to do
yeah,
that. I'm going to take a leaf out of your book. I'll yell out. I'll
yes.
yell out.
Just yell out. There is this energy that when we're out on events like these, you don't even see yourself yelling or shouting because it just rolls out naturally without you
Yeah,
noticing.
yeah.
But later on, when I was watching back some of the footages and little video clips I had, then I would hear myself shouting, Catherine, Princess of Wales,
I
King
know.
Charles. And I said, oh my God, is that me who was shouting like that? As if there was
It is.
nobody nearby. Huh?
Oh, look, if I did that, my kids would just they would be praying for the ground to open up and swallow them.
Yeah. Right. So that's King Charles for
That's
you.
King Charles. Yeah,
Thank you so much, our dear
yeah.
friends,
I've got a
for
post I'm putting up
being
after
here.
this. So
Yes,
every day,
yes.
King
Keep
Charles,
up.
King Charles. Yeah,
Keep up the great work.
yeah.
And I'm sure somebody somewhere is looking at these highlights you put out every day and really appreciating your incredible work, Catherine. Very, very well done. Now, Chantel is asking about Megan. She
Mm.
stepped out today solo. She did. And she was speaking to young girls about bullying. And she's put herself down as the most bullied person in the world. Okay. So we know that, they've decided to part ways with Prince Harry in terms of how they are stepping out with their work. So, and I think so. We're gonna start to see a lot of Meghan Markle. She stepped out here. She's gone here. She's doing this here as a way of reasserting herself. And I think we're going to start seeing some little competition between them who gets more coverage, who does this. Uh, and many people, before we come to Meghan Markle calling herself as one of the most bullied in the world, many people had recently started reading into this professional separation in their work as some sort of divorce coming up. Okay. Oh, yeah, they are divorcing very soon. Also, they've decided to part ways. Oh, we saw a van parked outside of Montecito. You know, Prince Harry took so many days abroad. He wasn't rushing back home sooner like he used to do before. So definitely divorce is looming.
Mm.
So those were the conversations. And I thought to myself, I won't get overly excited about this because obviously we've been talking about divorce for how many years now.
Mm.
Okay. But looking at how expensive that divorce will turn out to be, especially for Prince Harry, I don't think he can risk taking that route right now. Okay. Because we know he might not be able to see those children again. When we know Prince Harry's mental health could be triggered, we know Prince Harry is very vulnerable, extremely vulnerable. Okay, so I don't think it is going to be that divorce any soon. I don't think he would be brave to take that route of divorce. But what I think is that they might, they might live some sort of separate ways in a way of uh, maybe living in that house, but maybe because of business, their relationship will probably be around business. They are running a business, Sussexes, and they arch well. To keep those businesses running, they have to put themselves in that sort of union for the sake of that. But with no real love there. And I think with time we will start to see this frustration with Prince Harry, but he won't have anything to do apart from continuing with that frustration for the sake of making money and those businesses running. And we know Meghan Markle herself cannot also operate fully without Harry. So both of them, somewhere, somehow, need each other. They will very much fight to show the world that they are together, but in the actual sense, it will be a relationship. I mean, business-based relationship. What did you think of those rumors? Do you think that a divorce is looming, really?
Um, for the reasons that you've cited, I actually have always doubted they would divorce. And here are my reasons why. I'm not saying that they won't separate, but I've always doubted the prospect of divorce. I find it really interesting that this is all blowing up at the same time he received that inheritance from his grandmother, the Queen Mother, and I think he's holding on to that. He's put that away. She has. I bet she hasn't got access to that.
Hmm.
And I think she's such a dirty dog. And you've seen the way women like this behave with Amber Heard. She's got a little projection room, like in a private theatre, with full of reels on Harry. She's got so much garbage on him, in stoned state. Who knows doing what? I don't even want to make any suggestions in that respect. So there's that, and you can bet she has got all of that there tucked away under her belt. Mixing my metaphors, I meant in her little projection room.
Hmm.
She's got all that. Then she's got the kids, right?
Hmm.
Now,
Hmm.
in California, I understand, first of all, that the the benefit to the wife in a divorce kicks in after 10 years of marriage. So they're not 10
Hmm.
years yet. So she'll hold on to that. She's got a little anchor, royal anchor babies. Um,
Hmm.
but she'll hold on to that and she's going to make it very difficult for him. And that's like, he's such a fool. He
Hmm.
is such a fool, the way he allowed her to lead him around by the nose, just operating like her mouthpiece and, changing his personality, boom, like, night and day.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
like now she's got all the ammunition. And, I said it to you on one of your videos, I think yesterday, I said, buckle up, this is really going to get ugly. And, I blame, I don't blame them for everything. So let me qualify this before I say what I'm about to say, because, some people will take issue with it. I don't blame them for everything, but the template was there for Harry with his parents. This back and forth in the media, this firing. This is why I believe, first of all, I don't think he has any will to remove their titles or deal with them. I just don't think he does. Because when the royal family removed Diana's HRH, it was a really big deal. And
Hmm.
the king doesn't want to be in that position again. But this
Hmm.
whole template with the media, like one party coming in, another party coming in over them and responding, and she
Hmm.
likes to respond, she doesn't leave anything unanswered. And I believe it's going to get as ugly as all out. And I, when I say I blame, that's probably a bit harsh, but I believe that the seeds of this were laid with Diana and Charles and the breakup of their marriage because he was so young. He
Hmm.
was he
Hmm.
was damaged not only by his mother's death, which we never just put it to rest, please, but um, divorce really hurts children.
Hmm.
Children
Hmm.
are really damaged by divorce, particularly when they're really messy.
Hmm.
So that that's how I see it, and I don't believe it's in his best interests to go through a divorce. I just don't. He
Yeah.
will want to because he'll want to unhook himself, but he can't. He just
Hmm.
can't. He's caught in that spider's web.
He is, yeah, and you've said it quite rightly there that he's seen what happened to his father. He grew up in
Mm,
that sort of
mm,
thing, his father divorcing, and
yeah.
so he would like to hold on for as much as he can in this relationship, so as not to go down the route his father went. So that's the first thing there,
Mm,
and you said that quite rightly. And the second thing I think for me is to do with uh, the advice they gave him at the very start, Prince William, Catherine, telling him,
mm,
why don't you
mm,
take some time to look at this woman, study her, see what she is before you fully commit. And he turned that against them, and said, no, they never wanted him to marry the love of his life and all of that, and how that became a big thing in his pair and all of that. So if he divorces, he is worried of being looked at as somebody who actually overlooked advice in the first place, and
mm.
he doesn't want his brother to win in that sense. So
That's
he
good.
will,
Yeah.
yeah, so he's gonna keep his ego and stay in this thing, this very painful thing, you know, because let's look at it in this sense. When they left, their approach was to do business, right? Step out together, conquer the world, okay? Become big and very successful.
Mm,
Well, it's not what it is now. They are now separating business as we see. They've changed their approach to go solo, separate ways in their professional lives because they've realized it's not working. It's not working. So definitely that's a 1-0 for Prince William. We say, that's that's a win for William because he warned him, find out if you're going to be compatible, before going on in this relationship. Because when you're
mm,
going to
mm,
into a marriage, you're going to be doing things almost together. So when you come
mm,
to a point of separating in the way you step out because things haven't worked out for both of you, then it really shows that there is a problem somewhere.
mm, mm,
And we've seen how Prince Harry recently has really, really come out of himself by stepping out together. He has so much confidence. And this project here, Center Ballet, that he went to visit in Africa, is one of his very, very passionate charities. And he apparently was starting to lose funding for that charity because of his partnership with Meghan, because of stepping out with Meghan, because they thought Meghan had a lot of public negative publicity around herself, and the Center Ballet donors were starting to become a little bit weak in coming forth with the donations because of that publicity Meghan carries herself with. So Prince Harry was very clever enough to understand that I need to pull up, to pull away from Meghan if I am to stay strong, if I'm to keep these donors on board with Center Valley. So, and that's the same thing with Well Child Awards. He came here by himself. These donors, people behind the funding of these charities, would like to see Prince Harry himself spearheading these projects without having Meghan tailgate because they know the publicity and the controversies she carries herself with. And in the long run, they have decided, you know, if we don't do this, Harry's going to lose everything that he had worked so hard to have. I was reading somewhere, and they were saying that the Sussexes are now very busy, coming up with meetings
mm,
behind the
mm,
scenes to debate the way forward and start separating things. Okay, so Meghan, now take this direction, Prince Harry take this. So separating their professional movements and how they have been approaching engagements, but all in the name of not making sure that Prince Harry doesn't lose everything he worked hard, because he was at risk of losing those things because of Meghan by looking at it. Okay, because let's look at it in this sense: whatever Meghan touches, wherever she goes, even if she tries so hard, she is never going to convince people that she's on a real, genuine mission. Okay. So, but how far is this strategy going to continue? This is what is going to weaken their relationship, because if Prince Harry is invited here abroad to countries by himself, he stays away for such
mm,
long periods of time. What is that going to lead to? This marriage weakening day by night. And it will just come to a point where we will just be seeing Meghan, Harry, but with real, with no love there, and probably Doria would be the
mm,
one witnessing what is really going on in that mansion there in relation to how these two relate behind the scenes. But I don't think they are any happy being in that relationship other than
mm.
just using the title and making money and hmm. So I wasn't gonna be
Well,
overly excited about that divorce
no, I'm
rumor.
not. No, I think it is just all speculation, but for good reason. It's
Hmm.
just that I think he's got too much to lose.
Hmm.
Mm.
Hmm. And do you think the royal family, especially William and Catherine, would be wanting this divorce to happen now for Harry to come back? I don't think no. At this
Mm.
point in time, Harry
No,
coming back will be very problematic. Very,
I
very
agree with you.
problematic. Hmm.
She's in a very vulnerable position. She 3 months after you discontinue chemo, you then go back and then they'll be able to tell you whether you're really chemo free or not, whether you're cancer free or not. She's in a very vulnerable position, and he has made it clear he doesn't want anything to do with his brother. Zip. I mean, Harry really miscalculated here, but with the help of Meghan, he thought he was going to have a lot of time with his father. He was like a spoilt child who ran away from home, and I'll come back later. They'll forgive me. It's that thing of I'll do it, but I'll ask for forgiveness later. He thought that was going to happen, and now all those timelines are shortened, and now William's really made it known he wants nothing. He's wiped his hands of him. His
Hmm. That's
and
it.
I don't blame him. Some people will have a problem with that because, especially sections of the media, because they want the two brothers, at each other. They want them in the same realm. They want Diana's sons together. They're all invested in a particular narrative, but no, he's really cooked his goose, Harry. I don't know, the guy was out of his mind to have done
Oh,
some
he
of the things
has.
he's done.
I'm telling you, um, he will not be trusted to come back. He
No.
can't be trusted by his brother. He hasn't done anything to show remorse for what he's done. He's not apologized yet. His ego is still way high up there, as we see. He's moving on as normal, as if nothing has happened. He's done nothing at all. And then you talk about him wanting to come back, and you talk
Mm.
about Catherine William welcoming his idea of divorce so he can come back when he hasn't even settled things here with his family, in a way of apologizing for what he did. when he is still insisting that the royal family should apologize to Meghan Markle, and you say they will be happy for him to come back. you know, not a chance. So with these divorce rumors going round, if at all, I'm here thinking, God, stay there for a bit longer. Try and make your things work, because the mess you two created here was, was very, what is the word without me being very, okay, so that mess that they created here, the royal family is still trying to clean it up, and
Yeah, yeah.
so he can't come back when things are still like this. So yes, he let him lay in the bed that he made.
Well, I think this is the problem Harry has. He's so immature. He
Mm,
really is immature, and he really did believe that he was going to be able to come back. I actually,
mm,
those headlines a few weeks back, about a month now, they were all saying he's speaking to friends and allies here in the UK, and he's looking to plot a way
yeah,
back, a plot, a
yeah.
return. I love that word, plot.
It is a
Well,
return.
who wrote this press release? So he and then he was shocked. He was
Yeah.
really he was bruised that public opinion was so against him that the public really rose up against him and said, "No way, not on our watch are you coming back." And the public have to do that because they have to let the royal family know how they feel in case
Yeah.
anyone over there is wobbling at the knees. So
Yeah.
I don't think anyone is. I think if there's ever going to be any wobbles, it'll be with the York girls. But
Yeah.
Beatrice is having another baby. Why would she want the drama? So
Exactly.
he really believed. I think he was like a child that thought, I'll get forgiveness later. My God,
Yes.
they are cleaning up after a firestorm. That's what they're doing.
Yes. Oh,
It's a
yes.
total firestorm. I could say something
Yes.
show, but no, it was an absolute firestorm. And the only one who really said anything was William when he came out and said, "We're
We
definitely
are
not a
not
racist
a racist
family."
family. That
That was
is
that
that
was unheard of.
statement. Absolutely, because all the other royals were sort of brushing this off and just walking as though they've had nothing. But he
Yes.
took that pause and said, "We are very much not a racist family." That for me cut it all. It did. And the way he said it, and the moment was the right moment, because I think all of us here are still holding on to that statement William made as proof that the royal family, and we as royalists who are lining up behind the royal family, this is the sort of response we would all have had to for everybody who had those doubts of whether the royal family is racist or not. So that was really, really very wise, is the right word here for Prince William to respond. Okay. And the way he did it, patting Catherine, Princess of
Yes.
Wales, by the shoulder as they walked past. We are very much not a racist family. Was sending out a special message that, okay, I'm also speaking for Catherine here, because Catherine was attacked, remember, in that book where they accidentally named the royals who made those racist remarks, okay, naming Catherine and the king himself. So this was a William who was fighting not only for the royal family, but also fighting for his wife. That my wife is not racist. We are all not racist. So that really cut it for me and for you, just like you have said. For him to have responded, it really shows the magnitude of how annoyed and unhappy they were with those remarks coming from Meghan and Prince Harry. So there isn't going to be an easy road for Harry to come back. And I don't think they might be sympathizing with him in a way of saying, oh, he could have done better, he could have chosen somebody better. But at the same time, they're like, stay in it. We told you, we warned you, you never listened to us.
Well, it's not just a broken marriage that we're talking about here. We're talking about the reputation of the royal family and the way he treated his grandmother. And,
Mhm.
it was just, oh gosh, I lose words when I think about what they did to the Queen. Apparently, it's come out recently, she invited Harry and Meghan up to Balmoral to visit her, and they declined.
Mhm.
Only days before she passed, and they
Mhm.
declined, and caused a problem then
That
because
invitation
yeah,
That
go ahead.
invitation there, Catherine, sorry to cut you short,
No, please
was
do.
going to have something I heard, was going to have something with a lot of what is the word? Rebuking, telling of, warning, for them to be very careful with the projects that they are embarking on and the way they are going on with tarnishing the image. So, when it's more like you do something wrong, okay? And as growing up, we were kids, and you do something wrong, and your mother calls you, or somebody tells you, oh, Francis, they are calling you, your mom is calling you, and you know that you did something wrong at home. Trust me, you're
That's
not going to
interesting.
come home. You're going to you're
Oh,
going to find an excuse to
no wonder
stay
they
away or
didn't
run away.
go.
Yeah. So if you know you've done something wrong, or you've say, when I was growing up, I remember my mom had this very pretty cap of hers. She loved it so much. I think she got it as a present when she first qualified as a teacher, because my mother was a teacher. So they handed them certificates and this beautiful mug with the name of the college where she graduated from. And then one day, being kids, I knocked the cup off the shelf and it fell and broke into pieces. This was one of her most precious gifts. So, back in Africa, those days you would be really scolded if you did something wrong.
Oh
So
my God.
my mom wasn't at home. My little sister saw this happening, and when my mom came home, she told my mom that Francis broke your cup.
Oh.
So I was there playing football far away from home playing, but it was playing on my mind that, oh, I don't know what my mom is gonna say. What is she gonna do to me? So my sister came and said, Francis, mom is calling you. She's back. And,
Uh-oh.
and I knew I'd broken her cup. I didn't go home. I didn't. Somehow I ended up at a neighbor's place. Being kids, we stayed at neighbors, watched TV there. But I really got stuck there because I wanted to come home very late when everybody was sleeping, and I slip into my room and go to sleep. So I declined coming home. So this could have been the case with these two as well. They knew what they have done. They know what they have done. So any invitations for them to come back to Balmoral, whether it was gonna be part of these Christmas gatherings, Meghan and Harry were always going to be a bit scared and worried of being asked questions after questions and rebuked for what they have done. And even the guilt itself will always chase people away. So, with what we see happening with Meghan Markle and saying, I will never come back to the UK because I was not welcome, I was treated like this, really comes down to her guilt because of what she did here. She's very guilty that
Oh
even
yeah.
walking,
Yeah.
very guilty of what she did. So you saw when they were walking down in that, you remember they meet up with
Yeah.
William and Catherine in black dresses walking down to look at the flowers. Megan looked like she wanted the ground to open up and swallow her, you know,
Mm, mm,
all of that guilt. And you tell me they can afford to come and mix
mm,
with the royals and look there over that they talked and said about the royal family. No chance. No
mm,
chance. Yeah.
mm.
So these two really are where they are, refusing to come back here in any way, shape, or form because of the guilt that they carry for what they did. Okay. But I wanted,
I like that story, Francis. I really enjoyed hearing that story because, we can all relate to that in one way or another. And also, as we're parents now, and
mm,
we know, we
yeah,
just know when the kids have really messed up and
yeah,
they're
they mess
avoiding
up.
you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You call them and they
I,
avoid you.
I
If
didn't
they're
I
used to
didn't
coming back.
realize. Yeah, no, it was a beautiful illustration actually because I was feeling your pain. But I didn't know it was the Queen. It was
Yeah,
one of those showdowns. But when the Queen invites you, how do you have the temerity? How do you have the gall to ignore an invitation from the monarch? Like you would. There were periods in history where you would never say no to the monarch.
no,
You would
yeah,
just
yeah.
turn up.
You just turn up and but again, it comes down to the lack of respect. I should say, lack of respect. Because if
Mm.
your grandmother extends an invitation to you, regardless of
Mm.
what you did to the family, be man enough, woman enough to own up and come back and face the music, whichever way. And nine times out of 10, when we get ourselves into problems and people invite us or whatever, it's not like they're going to beat us or stamp on you or
No, no.
sometimes it's to have a conversation, a wise one from which they want us to learn or point us in certain direction and say, this isn't good. If you carry on going that way, this and that would happen to you. You're gonna block all the good luck and all of those things. And can you imagine what a difference that would have made if these two came back and honored that invitation? Can you
Oh,
imagine
we'd be seeing a different situation today, I
would
think.
be seeing a
Yeah,
different
yeah.
situation? Yeah.
Mm,
Okay. So they would
mm,
have come to the realization of what they did and actually, started like opening up a certain line of reconciliation or, of some sort. But when they said no to that, the invitation of the queen, not only did they come across as very disrespectful, but also very arrogant, very, that's been nasty, and every bad thing you can talk about somebody who does not respect a woman like Queen Elizabeth was. Okay. We even have this Donald Trump here. This is one of the most, could say, charismatic, and but
he
look at
adored
how
her.
look at how Donald Trump behaved.
Mm, mm,
Queen Elizabeth was one of the very few people in the world that Donald Trump could bow down to.
mm,
Okay. And we saw that happen when the Queen was walking Donald Trump through the palace rooms and showing him what was going on, like they would do when a monarch invites a head of state from a different country. And you could see how Donald was very humbled and how he
mm,
would come down to the Queen's level and
mm.
bend and listen, pay an ear. And that's why he was very surprised to see Meghan Markle and Prince Harry treat the Queen in the way
Mm.
that they did. He still talks about it right now. He said, I just can't believe that Harry and Meghan did what they did.
Well,
You
it's
know,
pretty shocking. I feel they really had no comprehension the degree to which people would be horrified by their disrespect for the monarch and his grandmother and grandfather. You know, when they had that Oprah interview, they kept replying in the media as they do. They said, oh, the royal family, you know, they're trying to stop us having the interview. They tried to stop it. You know, they were just using Prince Philip's illness to try and control us and manipulate us. What a shocking thing to say. I mean, would it not occur to you that human decency dictates that you say, look, we got a few things we want to get off our chest. You know, you're not going to like it, but out of respect for um, Prince Philip and his illness and the Queen, we're going to put it on hold for now. There was no consideration at
mm,
all. I mean, you know, it is elder abuse. And I know we live in an age where the elderly, you know, and I'm now in that category and I don't really care that much. I'm surprised at how little I care about getting older. So you're
we
in
are
this
all
category.
are. We are all
Yeah.
are. Every
So
single
you're in
one of
this
us. Yeah, we're.
category
Hmm,
where
hmm,
people treat you like garbage, like you're just an old pensioner. Who are you, you old hag, to go online and talk to anyone? I just laugh at those comments because
hmm,
I think,
hmm,
well, you know, you're going to be in this place one day. What do you know? You're just shown how
hmm,
ignorant you are. So what I'm saying
hmm,
is that we are living in this age, but that was another level of
hmm,
disrespect. It was Machiavellian.
hmm,
I
hmm.
can't think of any word that describe it. Was a Machiavellian behavior on their part, and that's why the public won't accept him back.
Of the highest order, and that even
Nice.
extends to very recently for the king's coronation when they extended an invitation to the two of them, and Prince Harry decides to turn up by himself, leaves Meghan Markle. Apparently, Meghan says she stayed home to look after the kids. Harry can go. The highest level of disrespect. Can you
Mm, mm,
imagine
mm.
inviting a couple and just one
It's
of them
actually blood
turns up
curdling.
and the other
It's
one stays back?
oh, it's blood
It does
curdling.
not paint a good picture of somebody. You could see Prince Harry walking in that cathedral. It's in what Westminster Abbey Cathedral, looking like a lost sheep, looking down on himself, full of shame for what he did. And I think Meghan Markle stayed back again because of the guilt, the shame of what he did to this man who walked her down the aisle where her father, where nobody from her side could come and do it.
Mm,
Okay.
mm, mm. I know it just beggars belief. It
Mm,
just I think you know, when someone asked Michelle Obama what she thought, and she was very wise and she was quite restrained in her response. And she said, well, this was after the interview. She said, you know, I hope that the family can sort these matters out, something to that effect. But what they forgot was that people like that, people that they respect, Harry's been photographed with Obama. He's been photographed with these senior statesmen, you know, and they've got no regard for the way for the way he treated his grandmother, for the way they look at Obama with little George in his dressing gown. These
mm.
people respected the person they introduced. They just absolutely. Oh my God, I can't believe anyone could conduct themselves. It's really
In the way
wicked,
that they did,
wicked.
very, very wicked. Now, you see that Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, when they came here, so actually, thank you for bringing that up. Those two were also very, very close to the
Yes.
king, to the queen, and they were also very, very close to William and Harry. But since that happened, I think, and from looking at how they have been
Mm,
running their businesses since Obama left, the White House, they sort of think whatever Meghan and Harry did was not the right way. And I think at some point Michelle Obama was asked a question about Meghan, and she said something along the lines of, I just can't believe how you get married into this family and then you take the husband away from the family and go to a different country and never actually go back to visit. Because where I come from in Africa, when you're married, okay, when you're married, it is actually very disrespectful for a woman to take the husband away and not let the husband go back to see their family. The kids, the kids should always see their grandparents very often because grandparents are wise people. We have this saying that the older we get, the wiser we become. They are wise. They carry themselves with blessings. And so for Meghan to be comfortable taking Harry away to United States and keeping them there and not even letting Harry bring the kids back home to see their grandmother and see the king, all these nieces and nephews, is despicable. And as a woman who is in this day and age, who is sensible enough for you to sit down there and think it is okay for the kids not to go and see their grandparents, you are in a very different planet. And many people will not respect you at all. So when she goes out there and
Mm,
talks to people and speaks to young children, and the way she did today, she went and spoke to the young girls, people are looking at her as being hypocritic because you cannot talk about values, young people growing up to be responsible when you're not letting your kids grow up in a manner they should be. You're not letting them be kids, go and see their grandparents. That's the greatest gift you can give to a young child. Take them to their grandparents.
mm,
But here is King Charles begging to see these kids. Okay, they are not here. He's living in these very difficult days as we see him. It means that these days, these are the days he needs to be accessing those children because there isn't any more chance other than now. So there are so many things that are just wrong on all levels with these two individuals. And I think this is why people stopped having sympathy with them. Okay, no matter how they will come across as doing good things, Prince Harry stepping out, well child awards, the young ones, and center ballet, all these good things, people are still not going to give them the due respect they deserve because of the record that they are carrying themselves with, you know.
But you see, you could see really how deeply wounded the Queen, as a grandmother, would have been. She would have been absolutely devastated by the treatment that Harry was dishing out. Not
Mm,
because she's not big enough to take it, as she was a tiny little woman at the end, but she had big shoulders and she understood human nature, but it was how it was destroying him. Because you can't dig a ditch for someone else. You can't. And he's dug a ditch. He dug a ditch for his family. Now he's fallen into it. It's a proverb in the Bible. It says, "He who digs a ditch for another falls into it himself." He's digging it for himself. So that's why she would have wanted to speak to him, because she
mm,
didn't want to go. She knew her time was near. She had
mm,
They always say, listen to a man or a woman's last words. Always pay attention to their last words, because they want you to know something. And I mean, I feel quite moved thinking about the way they treated her. I mean, for all of that, they didn't get an invitation to Obama's 60th birthday, and it was all in the media that they were not invited, and
mm,
this is what they've done to themselves. So, if the Queen wanted to speak to him and correct him, you know, I just can only imagine her heartache. And
mm,
I feel deeply about that because, as grandparents, you just want the best for your grandchildren. But her grandson was doing this
mm,
treasonous act. It was
mm.
the only person that can betray you is someone close to you. So it was her grandson was trying to undermine and diminish the monarchy.
Whom she loved so much, because she really, really loved Harry. She got on well with him. But the way Harry changed and became totally this different man, it was very surprising. Even to this day, many people just can't believe that this young man who loved service, who was very compassionate with his charities here, especially the Royal Marines, these charities and the battalions he was the patron of, and throwing all of that away to go and become a nuisance he is today is very, very perturbing to so many people. But Joe makes a very important point there when she says that they thought they were going to make big mega bucks when they go to United
Mm,
States with these royal titles. And then they
well
go and
said,
sit on
Joe.
that Oprah interview. And,
Mm,
and that really set the standards for their
mm.
fall. Since then, I've
Yep.
not seen them come back from that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's really, really good for Joe to highlight that.
Mm, mm.
And we have so many good views, incredible views. Paul says the same, and it's that jealousy there, it's because he left, and he can't, he sees Prince William flying, doing what he loves, sticking there
Mm,
for his father, his the royal family, and I mean, we are not human. Okay, so King Charles did his mistakes, during those days, and
oh yeah.
William managed to come to terms with all of that. You could see the respect he has for Camilla, you know. So for Harry to go away and make a fuss of his father, speak like that about his father's wife, Camilla, when we are young people, because we never, children never grow. They always stay your babies. Your children, Catherine, are still your babies. If old they are still your babies. And they are supposed to respect their parents. They say parents never do wrong in the eyes of children. Your parent is a parent. Okay, whether he did his mistakes, calling him for what he did and speaking terribly bad about his wife is in itself a form of disrespect. Okay, and more so in the eyes of the world. These very,
Mm.
very public conversations, bringing them to light, that we said we had suggested he doesn't marry Camilla, and he went ahead and terrible of him to have said that. But these are the sort of things that will haunt these two forever.
Oh, they're never going to be able to get away from
Mm,
this. They don't.
mm,
That's what Harry hasn't come to grips with yet. And I mean, it's actually very sad. It's sad for the family, but they've moved on. They've had
mm.
to. They
Yeah.
have to. They've got too much on their plate to sit and wallow in sadness over this. At some point, you have to pick yourself up and move
Mm,
on. And
mm,
no one's feeling sorry for you. No one's going to get you out of bed. I sometimes think he can't even dress himself, Harry. And I'm not being derogatory when I say that. I mean it. I think he really
mm,
struggles because sometimes when he's out and about, he looks so shabby. His
mm,
hair's a
mm,
mess. He looks like he probably needs to cut the hair in his ears and things like this. Such a mess, like an old man, that hasn't got a wife kind
And
of
this
look.
is this is a young man who used to
Terrible.
be done. Everything was done for him, and
Immaculate.
yes, immaculate. He had the best team around him in the royal family to take care of all of that. But also, when you marry a wife, a woman, I'm not saying that women do everything and we just sit there. As a woman, if I was a woman, I would feel very ashamed for my husband to go out looking, shabby and all of that. I would want to make sure he's immaculate, everything is good. But that tells a big story
Yes.
about Megan and the sort of woman she is if she can't even look after her husband in a way woman should be doing. And I saw herself stepping out recently at this event where she wore the red dress. That dress has become the talk of town for all the wrong reasons. And I was reading some comments on some of these popular feeds, and people were saying her hair wasn't well looked after, this, and
Mm,
so they were pointing out some of these things. And you're like, okay, for a woman in this 24th century, which are we in the 20th, whatever century we are, those are some of the things you have to get right before stepping out on such events. Okay. But quite often, she's caught off guard. Either the outfit is wrinkled or something's wrong somewhere. So there is that lack of responsibility that is even very pronounced. And when you look at the things they are doing now, you don't get so surprised why they don't go very far. Okay.
I
Yeah.
agree. I mean, it's just basic grooming. I mean, at that level of public life, that grooming is really important. That's
Mhm.
why I bring it up. I'm not trying to have a go at him. I'm just pointing out. I mean, she's worse. I can't stand, but I have a thing about it anyway. I saw a newsreader. She was being interviewed by a royal commentator or something the other day, and she had on spaghetti strap silver outfit, and I thought, and she was not a young girl, but I
Hmm.
thought, you know, I don't know. I just feel it's really important to consider the messages that you're sending when you're dressing. And Harry is sending a message that I'm not looked after. And I've been married a couple of times, and my late husband, I adored him, and I loved looking after him. I really did, and we looked after each other. And, it's just that's the point of a relationship. But she can only see herself. So she gets out in
Hmm.
all these garish clothes that,
Hmm. Hmm.
they really are. I think it was Lee Cohen. He's an American commentator that we hear from time to time. He put on his Twitter account, is anyone else tired of this trollop in the red dress? He actually called her a trollop. Oh, I'm glad someone said it. I didn't say it, girls. I'm just repeating what someone else said. All right? I'm not being catty, but to me, I just feel what's happened is women. I'll tell you, I saw an awful photo of J Lo, and she's in a bikini and she's got her legs open. She's got boots on. She's obviously trying to get her husband's attention because they've broken up. I
Hmm.
mean, and she's got her legs. She's in a bikini and her legs are wide open. I'm thinking, how is this helping? Oh, like,
Exactly.
how is this helping?
Helping.
It's adding,
Yeah.
just like, oh,
Ah.
save me from myself here, Francis, because I'm getting
Yeah.
onto a pet subject.
I
Save me from
know. Get
myself.
get a drink. Get a drink. It's a Saturday night. Oh,
Oh,
dear
where's
friends, have
my
you got
gin?
drinks there? Get a cup of tea. Get a glass of wine. Huh?
But
Yeah.
it's true. They
Yeah.
No clue. But when he was
Yeah.
living as a royal, you would never see him dressed the way he is now. And, all he has to do is groom his hair.
Mm.
He's going bald, whatever. Like, look at William. He looks quite handsome for being bald. I mean,
Oh,
I used to
yes.
love my mother's favourite actor, Yul Brynner. I thought
Yeah.
he was sexy as all out.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
shave around your
Yeah.
hairline.
Yeah.
Stop
Yeah.
trying to hide it with wisps. He's starting to look like
Yeah.
one of those old men.
But when
Oh,
you look
stop it,
at
Catherine.
William, when you look at Prince William walking out and about and how he looks apart,
So
very
groomed.
well groomed, very smart. He looks very professional. He, it it shows that he's got a very powerful woman behind
Mm.
him. Because that's what you see when you see a very good, powerful looking man, and this man is married. Your thoughts go to
Oh,
the wife. So the
nice.
wife is
Yeah.
doing a very great job here. So this is
They're
where
a
we get
power couple.
Catherine ticking all those boxes. Okay.
Mm.
So Megan needs to learn from from Catherine. She really needs to how to treat a man, and and this is the thing as well. Catherine has days she goes to spend with her family,
Yes.
the
Yeah.
Middletons. So she goes there. And William too goes there and spends
Mm.
time and with them, and they come
Nice.
spend time with the king here. They are invited to Balmoral and Sandringham for these royal gatherings. So you can see that they are leading a normal family life full of
Mm.
family support, respect for each other, and all of that. That is a sharp contrast to what we see with Harry and Meghan.
Mm.
Okay,
Mm.
we
Mm.
never see them go, okay, if Harry doesn't want to come back here for whatever they did with her, let us see them go to Thomas Markle, take the kids there, and we see, okay, Harry, Meghan are spending Christmas at Thomas Markle, our parents' place, because family is all about that.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
So that's why we take our hearts off for this lady here, Catherine, Princess of Wales, and Prince William for raising children with love, compassion, respect. This is how family is. Go, grandparents, share food, community is very, very important. Okay. So when you hear us call Prince Harry and Meghan out for these things, it's not that we don't like them or
No,
we hate them.
no.
We are
I, I,
talking about,
I'm not
yeah,
being catty. I just feel it's
mm,
important
yeah,
if you want people to
these,
respect you.
yeah, these
Elevate yourself.
conversations are, yeah, absolutely. These conversations we have here online and the talks here, we are actually helping out in a way of providing advice and insights and showing these people how to go about life. Because if they don't listen to people and they carry on with the way they do, they are just going to their brand is going to completely get erased and tarnished and finished. You can see right now with what is going on with Meghan Markle, especially. She attended that event, uh, and she was seen as one of the very many people at that event. When she was still here, royals stepping out, everybody would want to courtesy to them, have a photograph with them, be anywhere near, feel excited when they are coming to an event. Oh, Meghan and Harry are going to be around, you know. But all of that vanished now. Meghan goes to these events and nobody really wants to look there. She's
They've got
just
no
holding,
cachet.
yeah, she's just clinging on to people like that.
Mm.
People that would be clinging to her to get closer to her back in the days. She's now clinging on to them. Somebody was saying that LA doesn't need her. Now, you know, LA, this is where all the
Yeah.
celebrities go. They have
Mm.
fun. They do what? LA needs these celebrities because when they hear, okay, Beyonce is here, all these big Taylor Swift, you know, all these movie stars, they are the ones that make up LA and give it that vibe. But somebody was saying LA doesn't need Megan. In fact,
I
it
heard
is
that.
Megan
Yeah.
who needs
Yeah.
LA badly because of her crumbling profile. Okay.
She's fallen so far because um, you look at David Beckham, he's like a little kid, He's starstruck when he's around the Royals. I
Oh,
mean, this
yes.
is, a really famous guy. And I've never followed David Beckham. I only really pay attention because he's in the orbit of the Royal orbit, right? And when you see him around the Royals, he's just
Oh,
like
he's he's
starstruck.
very excited. He's like a
He's a big
baby. He
star.
can't wait. He's a big star, but he is also humbled by being
Yeah.
near royalty. Okay. And like someone the other day says, you can't buy into royalty. You can't. However much money you have, or the Tom Cruise, these people, we see them, they have all the money in the world. But look at how Tom Cruise is very excited at being at an event where William and Catherine are. He's just so excited, and he has all the money, but he can't buy that into royalty. He can't be a royal. He cannot. He can't. Okay. So Meghan Markle really threw away the biggest
Mm,
opportunity
mm,
to become somebody who is great in the world. Through that
mm,
opportunity, because from the rags that she comes from to right into royalty. How many people get those chances? That is 0.00001% people can get that chance of. When we were growing up as young children, our parents, now I used my, because I've got sisters, about four of them. I used to hear my mom talking, these are conversations that I'm raising my girl. Maybe one day she'll marry Prince
oh.
from a royal. So you can see that even from childhood, our parents
Mm,
always wished their children to get into some royalty of some sort. And here is
mm,
Meghan Markle at how many years was she when she met Harry? 30 what? 35,
mm.
33, whatever years she was.
Yeah, they've been together 6 years now, have they? Is that correct?
Yes, yeah.
Mm,
So, because they married 20 what?
mm,
2018, they
mm.
married. So
Yeah,
19, 20,
okay.
20. For 6 years they've been together. But when she met, she was about 34, 35 or something like that. So for her to have grown up as a young girl who did not go to the same school, because we can see Prince William and Catherine's chances, okay, we could say, of them meeting were slightly higher because they went to the same school, college, university, then the same country. Their father,
Yeah,
Catherine's father, sort of comes from some aristocrat behind the scenes somewhere.
yes,
So you
yeah.
could see the chances are there. But Meghan Markle, we are talking about somebody who had zero chance, and then somewhere, somehow, she finds herself in royalty and she decides to blow it up. And now she's
Mm,
having
mm.
to go back to where she came from. And really, in life, you can only get, I know they say chances come, but you don't get that
Not one like
very
that.
many chances.
Mm.
Mm.
Well, I mean, she's literally despised. She, people who do what you and I are doing, because all we are doing, we're not sitting here having a bitch fest, over a cup of coffee or, drink of gin and tonic. This is the public reflecting back to you. This is
Hmm.
what this is. The public is reflecting back what they see, but you don't want to hear what the public have to say. You're not interested because you know better. But part of, I believe, the reason is you've hit the nail on the head there, that she's despised is because there are so many people who would have given their eye teeth for an opportunity like that. I mean,
Like
when you
this.
mention her coming out in clothes that are not ironed, because um, I don't want to nitpick her latest outfit with the kids because it wasn't too bad at all. I kind of like that look, but they were a bit creased. But are you telling me that in that house they live in, that mansion with all those bedrooms, that one of those bedrooms or all of those bedrooms are not filled with her clothes, that she hasn't got a steamer there next to her clothes, that she can do herself before she walks out the door? So my point I'm making is she has everything, and she has it all, and she just totally walked all over it in her muddy gumboots and trashed it totally. So, he had a few girlfriends, and Chelsea, I think it just wasn't for her in the end, but he would have had no problem finding a decent girl. And he ended
Hmm.
up with that piece of
I don't, when
whatever.
you when you go back to look at the royal wedding and how much money was spent on this wedding and how it was pampered and and to imagine right now that things are what they are, you start saying how sad, because we could be reminiscing about this wedding. Look at how Catherine, she steps out, they're together. So that was money well spent. Okay.
Mm.
So,
It was a wonderful gown
yeah.
that she wore.
So, yeah.
Mm.
So I sit back here sometimes in a cup of tea when I feel a bit low sometimes. Say, right, let me entertain myself a little bit. I put on the royal weddings, Catherine's wedding, put it on, sit with a nice cup of tea here. And it's like I am watching this fairy tale wedding which happened yesterday simply because of the many beautiful things and the recollections and the sort of woman this Catherine, Princess of Wales, has grown out to be right now. I'm telling you, the royal family has never made a wonderful investment than it did this woman arriving and becoming the Princess of Wales. Mhm.
Yeah,
Because she
she's
has
gorgeous. She is the
ah,
template.
on very many
Mm,
levels. She
mm.
goes through this period of health scare and she still turns out very strong in the way she is, glowing, beautiful, very respectful. People threw lots and lots of insults at her and came up with, oh, they've divorced, oh, she's probably been um, sent to New York or whatever and given a house and told her stay there, never come back. Which people said a lot of things about her and Prince William. And look at what she did. She bounced back very kind as she has ever been. And it's more like all of that did nothing to her. We don't see any bitterness in this woman.
No,
She's made in some sort of different clay, should I say. And
yeah,
she's not the
that's good.
perfect of women out there. I
Mm.
mean, we had moments, the photographs they talked about. And again, Catherine being Catherine, she comes out with an apology. I'm very sorry for this and that. That is what they call a real responsible person. And
Yeah, yeah.
definitely an opposite or the other contrast to what we see
Mm,
Meghan Markle. So it is a shame, Catherine. It is a shame the way
mm.
things are with Harry, Meghan, because I think they had so much potential to make a difference
Oh,
in the world.
well, the Sussex squad are always saying, "Oh, why are you talking? What's it got to do with you? Are you jealous he didn't marry you?" Oh my God.
Yeah,
No, thank you. No,
yeah.
but the point is, people resent the way she just trashed it like it was nothing. And this is something that people in Britain value deeply. This is their culture. This is who they are. This is what the country stands for. Like, the Republican movement in the UK, it doesn't stand a chance. It does out in some of the other realms, but it doesn't stand a chance in the UK. The UK, this is in their DNA, and she came in and she just trashed that. So,
Hmm.
that's why people don't like her. She behaved despicably towards their queen. She treated the whole family like they were just like going on Oprah and calling it Empire 2.0. How ludicrous. Yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
go and read a
Hmm.
bit of history.
And I'm sure Harry by now must have realized. And
Yep.
when we see these approaches they are taking now, professional separation, because they like to
Yes.
give these things words, okay, professional separation. They
Ooh,
are making it
ooh.
sound like, oh,
I
it
know.
is sweet, it's lovely. But we people who understand what's going on between these two, we know what is going on exactly here, and it is part of the realization of Prince Harry that this whatever he thought was going to be was wrong. I can't carry on like this. I really can't. Okay, because at this point, the changes would have been them strengthening their unity in moving forward, especially as they have this Sussex.com. How do you have the Sussex.com when really you're gonna be going separate ways in how you're doing business?
That's actually a good point. Mm.
Because
How
you
are you
see
going to
the royal.
divide that down the middle?
How are you? Then you may as well have MeghanMarkle.com and PrinceHarry.com.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. But if you're going to maintain the Sussex.com and then here you're telling us you have this professional separation in the way you're going to be
Mm,
doing business,
mm,
it makes no sense at all.
mm, mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's the
So,
title, you see. Everything they did was based on the titles.
yeah, yeah, so that
That's a
shows how
really,
that
really
title.
interesting point you raise,
Eh,
like
eh?
in terms of the legal separation. Because what
Yeah,
they're basically doing is they're not doing a divorce. Uh, they're basically undergoing a separation. They're already separating their assets. That's what they're doing, calling it
mm,
professional, whatever. No one's buying that nonsense. But, I hadn't
yeah.
even thought about that. I hadn't thought,
Eh?
how are you going to separate Sussex down the middle? And can she take that with her if they got divorced? So, Duchess of
Exactly.
Sussex. I don't think the people in Sussex would appreciate
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean, she probably where she's trying to want to go is like the Duchess of York. What's her name? Sarah Ferguson. Uh,
Yes,
who who kept the Duchess of York? But Sarah Ferguson is a different case. That's a
she
special
is.
case
Yeah,
altogether. She has
yeah.
never went against the royal family in any way, shape, or form. If at all, she always sticks with the royal family. And she's been supportive of her ex-husband. They still live together, which I find very interesting. But that's why I'm saying this is
It
Sarah is a
seems to be
special
working.
case.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe we could see a situation of the Duchess of Sussex and like Meghan. I mean, like how Sarah Ferguson is with Prince Andrew, and maybe the Megans could head that way. But as long as they still have this Sussex.com and Actual Foundation and these businesses linked to Sussex.com, it isn't very wise of them at all to announce that we are having a professional separation in a way we are doing business, because they may
Ah,
as well separate Sussex.com, because this website is
yes.
operating with them moving forward as a unit. You can't have the
Ah.
Royal Foundation for the Prince and Princess of Wales when really Prince William and Catherine are gonna go solo ways. Okay,
I mean, what's in
okay.
there anyway? I mean, her American Riviera orchard doesn't seem to be going anywhere. She's had trademark issues with that. I mean, there's one thing you can say about Fergie. She attracts all sorts of. She's got her critics, but she worked. And after the divorce, she had no money. She went on the speaker circuit in America. She always seems to get herself back into financial trouble. But she worked, and she's written so many books. She worked. I mean, what
Hmm.
has Megan got? 50 jars of jam and a bag of dog biscuits.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But it's
You know?
all coming back to what you said earlier, that for as long as they are still not realizing what they did against the royal family, those apologies not coming from their
Mm,
side to the royal family,
mm,
they are not going to move forward in any meaningful
mm,
ways. No. Prince Harry can go ahead with his projects, Invictus Games, actual, sorry, what is it, Well Child, whatever those
yeah.
projects, and look good with himself doing good things, but that is not going to change the perception people have
Mm,
about these two for what they did. And our friends in the comments here have said those things. Their views here, their thoughts are really, really very well aligned with what we are talking about. And that's why I told you last time, Catherine, we have such a wide, very wise audience. Truly appreciate these wonderful
yeah.
people here.
I think there
And
was an
we,
agreement that Sarah would keep her title. I'm just looking at Lisa and Chantel
mm,
talking about Sarah's title. I think that was in the divorce agreement, just in the same way that Diana lost her HRH. It was in the divorce agreement. It has to be, those things have to be. But you see, when William ascends the throne, he did promise Mummy, when I'm king, I'll restore that. And I believe he'll stick with that. So, yeah, I mean, say what you will about Sarah. Like I said, she's not without her critics, but yeah, she doesn't go out and trash the royal family.
she's very respectful. In fact,
Yeah,
the Queen loved Sarah Ferguson so much.
yeah, I
She
think she
extended
did.
an invitation. Yeah, she did. And just because she adored Sarah Ferguson's sense of respect to the royal family. Okay, so
Mm,
Meghan, Harry, they really, really need to look upon themselves and reflect uh,
mm,
on how they are going to be moving forward. This 40-year milestone age for Prince Harry was going to be very, very critical for him in looking very
mm,
deeply inside of himself to really see where he is heading. And I think he's started to take those small steps with this professional separation we are seeing and all of that sort of thing. But until he also comes back here and gets down on his knees, says sorry,
yeah,
pull those projects down. I mean, the spare, those books have already gone out there, but it takes him standing there publicly and saying, you know what, I realize what I did was totally wrong. I should never have done this. I should never have written spare. The book is there, okay? But it just takes saying those words. People
mm,
can forgive,
they do.
okay?
People, we are pretty amazing. Human
Yeah,
beings are
yeah,
capable of so much. He needs to fall on his sword.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
the bottom line.
I mean, he comes back here every now and then. Last time he
Mm,
came to St. Paul's Cathedral, I was there for the uh, it Invict 10 years of Invictus. So I was there because I have a friend of mine as well who doesn't work very far from Greg's, which is it's a shop selling sausages and cup of teas and sandwiches, which is directly opposite St. Paul's Cathedral, where this 10-year anniversary service of Invictus Games was held. So I happened to be there to see my friend, and Prince Harry comes to the service,
Okay.
and some of Princess Diana's relatives were there as well on the day. But we still have people who call out Harry. Hi, Harry! People excited. We have those to see Prince Harry, but not because they see nothing wrong in what he did, but because they probably forgave and say, you know what, he was just a man in a certain space, and whatever he did that because he was in that space probably, and having people around him that were a bad influence. But it doesn't take much for him to come out in a certain public way and
Mm,
apologize for what they did. Put his
mm,
ego aside, and only then will people start to seriously look at how they can forgive him going forward. But even then, the trust has since been gone. He can still not come back in any royal capacities, serving the royal family in any way, shape, or form. He will just be forgiven, but still be looked at as a Harry who ditched his family.
yeah, I know a couple,
But
and it was sad breakdown, but they forgave, and they forgave before they even fully separated. But they did.
mm,
But the trust was gone. That's why they
mm.
couldn't restore it. The trust had gone.
Oh, trust. Once
It's
trust is gone,
trust.
it's gone. Yeah, it's one of the
Mm,
most precious things we can have
mm,
in the world.
mm,
When somebody loses that, it's
mm,
even more like in a relationship. You have somebody,
mm.
and somewhere, somehow, they cut you out with somebody else. They might forgive
Yeah,
you, but that level of trust they had,
yeah,
it will never come back.
yeah.
Okay, so, but we have talked a lot, I think, today.
Yes, it's good conversation as
Good
always. Thank you,
conversation.
Francis. Yeah.
and
Thanks,
and
guys.
yeah, and everybody in the comments, thank you so much.
Hi,
Our A
Lily.
team. Yeah. Lily,
Yes,
thank you.
Stedman.
Paul, Stedman. Oh God, Michelle LC,
Chantel.
Chantel, Paul, Baby Boxer. I like
I
that
love that
name.
name. Yeah, baby
Yeah.
boxer.
So we have the A team here, Lisa. Okay. Thank you so much. And our friends here really, really love us because they follow us everywhere. I see they show up on our
Yeah,
videos, on our posts, on our shorts, and they listen to us, and we really, really appreciate that. And I think Lisa, was it Lisa or Stedman, or was it who said that they need to shout out our channels to
oh, I saw
these other
that.
social medias.
That's amazing.
So that is really, really kind of you all to suggest
Oh,
that.
I
Because
was good. I was taken. You took my breath away when I read that. Thank you, girls and
yeah,
boys.
thank you so much,
Yeah.
girls, and yeah, and
Yeah.
um, we thrive on your support. We really do.
Mm, mm,
And when we know about these stories, we shall always be running here to share the news with you.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Aspie makes a good point. She says, "Watch the Sussex squad in your comments on your videos, Francis." I've noticed a few of those.
SPS,
Yeah.
yeah, SP, thank you so much for pointing that out, SP.
Mm,
And I think he spotted that. And sometimes these comments come, and for some reason, you don't see them. They sit somewhere and you don't see them. Now YouTube has a review policy where if a comment is nasty, they hide it until it's reviewed and it comes back. So whether it's YouTube hiding these nasty ones from us and we are not seeing them quick enough, we don't know. But thank you so much, Aspi, and everybody who's been dealing with these nasty people and reporting those comments and, protecting us in any way, shape, and form. We really, really appreciate that. That's why I say these channels we are running, Catherine, are not our own channels. They are ours,
Mm,
all of us.
mm,
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah.
So,
Well,
but it's great. Is there
thanks
anything
for
we've
that.
left out today?
No, we've covered it. We
Hmm.
even got quite excited about a few fashion faux pas. So funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So have you got
Thank you,
much to do,
Francis.
Catherine,
Yes,
today?
I'm going out to
Sunday. Hmm.
yeah, going out for an early dinner with my
Okay.
boys and my granddaughter, and yeah, and I've got a couple of things in the queue to post.
Mm,
So it's
mm,
cold here. It's actually quite
mm,
cold. So it's that
mm.
time of year. What's the weather like where you are? What are you still getting a couple of nice days?
No, it's starting to get cold now, so that the
Okay.
transitioning into winter
Mm,
is coming. I think we have because it will be officially winter here on the 31st of October.
okay.
I know
Yeah.
somewhere there we're gonna have that Halloween thing going on, and
Mm,
I see
mm.
people have started decorating. Any friends of ours here in the comments will tell us that wherever they live, they've started putting up pumpkins and these decorations outside the doors. When I see that, I always know the cold is gonna be knocking on our doors, but it's starting to change. I think we had the lowest this week at is it 7 degrees, 5 degrees? No, we had a
Yeah.
one the other day. So it's
Yeah.
starting to get cold. But whatever you
Yeah.
do today, keep strong, stay
Oh,
healthy,
you too.
because
You sleep well.
we need your energy. Come King Chelsea's visit,
I
please,
know. I
please.
know. That's Frankie will keep me on track. My
Yes,
little mascot. Yeah.
yeah.
Thank
So
you
to our dear
guys.
friends, thank you so
Yeah.
much. And
See you soon.
we will be with you again very soon when these big stories come out. Please, please.
Yeah.
Your
Thank
support
you.
for us is always appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye, everybody. Bye. Bye, everybody.